We've spoken to a lot of member states, and this is one of the critical things for them. They're very worried about time spans. So what we've been looking at is a process where we get the submission dates for potential projects for IQR from yourselves, and we try to work back in a sort of a critical path fashion. So if you have a submission date that you want to work to, we'll try to work back from that. It's very important. There's three words in there that are very important all the way through. Number one is independence. Again, in terms of what we've done so far, we've spoken to auditors, we've spoken to our legal people in the bank, we've spoken to legal people elsewhere. We've spoken to the stakeholders, especially the member states, to try to get your feedback on what you perceive as important from an independence point of view. Consistency is another thing that comes through in the feedback that we've had so far from stakeholders, particularly member states. They want to be treated in a consistent manner. And I think that has fed through into the regulation, but it's certainly fed through into how we're trying to take forward IQR. And then finally, it's about quality, and the final point, which talks about it's a review of the quality of project documents provided by the member state to ensure the and we're checking that the requirements of the Delegated Act are covered in those areas. You have the option. It's a voluntary action at the end of the day if you work with Jaspers Advisory, or if you work with IQR, or if you work with both of us. I would just like to emphasize that it is your choice at the end of the day, but in taking that choice, you then have to provide us with some information which will allow us to help you. As you'll see, there are two potential routes. Charlene has said about the second one, the normal procedure, and how it may be subject to interruption, whereas with the IQR system, in practice, provided we get it right, provided you get it right, you should be looking at having a project approved within 3 months. June, we had a team in place. We've concentrated to start off with on putting together a series of case studies. These have been very, very helpful internally within Jaspers, within IQR, and within the Commission, because it allows us to understand how we can get a consistent approach to the subject, and how we can be consistent in coming forward with appraisals. It's also helped us to identify grey areas and areas where we need to have cooperation from other stakeholders, be it advisory, be it other DGs. One of the key areas that we've looked at was under October there, where we went to see 4 or 5 of the countries, and we had some excellent feedback. It's not always positive, but it was excellent feedback, because it gives us a chance to look again at what we've done in terms of case studies, in terms of working arrangements, adjust them. It also helped us to raise a bit of awareness, because clearly there's a lot of stories about what IQR will and will not do, and really, since we're in the process of developing it, some of those stories, some may be correct, but some were clearly incorrect. But it was very important that we got the feedback from the member states. And it was quite varied as well. We've spoken to small countries, we've spoken to big countries, and we've spoken, as I said, we've had both negative and positive feedback, but it's useful, all very useful. I have 2 concerns that I'm addressing as the acting head of IQR. Number one, I'm worried that the workload causes a problem, not just from ourselves, but that then feeds on to the Commission and to the member states. I don't want that to happen. So we're spending a lot of time concentrating on planning and making sure that workloads don't become a big issue. We're hoping, and I'm planning, that by getting IQR up and ready and in the best condition possible, that we don't become that next source of delay. The IQR, at the end of the day, will sit between the member states to a certain extent, Jasper's Advisory and the Commission. And we've got to make sure that where possible, we can get it right to start off with. Clearly, it's a new service, and therefore it's impossible to get it completely right to start off with. But the more we can do before we start, the easier it is as we get into the projects. Essentially, it's the steps that will be involved in IQR. You have, we will talk to you, the member states, try to get some sort of agreement on what potential projects will be out there and what working arrangements we will have. There'll be a submission of key documents for each of the projects, which will be followed by an IQR report, which will go back to yourselves. And then you, as member states, will then submit the notification documents alongside of the IQR report. What that means, or the implications for yourselves, is that we've talked once or twice about the choice you have. You make the choice as a member state of the route that you want to take for the projects. Then we, i.e. yourselves, the member states and us, will then agree the working arrangements and the timings, which are crucial to you. Then it's back to you again, in that you have to get your operational programs approved so that we can move forward, and then your beneficiaries can move forward with the projects. And then it's back to us again, where the IQR team will do what it is supposed to do with the IQR report.